All right, here's the next one. Here we have a rectangular yard is fenced with posts placed at each corner. All right, evenly distributed so the centers are 6 feet apart. If the yard is 14 feet yard long and 6 yard, how many posts? The first thing that should jump out at you is this, the yards and the yards, and here we have feet. So what I would recommend do is convert everything into, I went into yards because there's 3 feet in 1 yard. So when it says 6 feet, immediately I change that into 2 yards. All right. Now, this is a very common question. A lot of people mess up. They get close, but they miss it by one or two. Basically, the way I look at it is we have four corners. One, two, three, four. Four corner posts. And then we have to put post in the middle to get from one corner to the next. All right, so if this total distance, like from here to here, is 14 yards, and we have the two ends already covered, what we need to do is have one at every middle piece. So at 12, or at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, those middle pieces. And if you count that, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 middle pieces. Um, so a way you can do this is you do 14, the distance, divided by 2, and that gives you 7. And that would be like here, 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 here. But we've already counted the corner, so you subtract the one corner, and that's why it's 6 middle. So we have the 6 middle here, and then, whoopsie, and then you have the 6 middle down there as well, because that's also 14 yards. Now all we have left is this side and this side. Well, this is a shorter one, so it's only 6 yards, so we needed 2 and 4. So there's 2 more in the middle there, and then there's 2 more over there. Oh, doesn't look very good there, does it? All right, so that gives you 6 and 6 is 12. 12 and 2 is 14, and 2 more is 16. And then we have the four corners, so that's why it's 20 total posts. All right, here's the next one. This is also, this was a tough problem set. All right, so how many positive three-digit integers can be formed such that the hundreds digit is equal to the sum of the tens and the ones? All right, so what that means is our first digit has to be the sum of the next two. Now, the best way to do this is just organized counting. So what I did is I start from low and then I go up to high. So I start with my lowest number, which is having a first digit of 1. Well, if you have a 1 as the hundredths digit, that means these two have to add up to give you 1. The only thing that will add up to give you 1 is 0 and 1. So there's two ways to do this. You could have 101 or 110, 101 or 110. So if it starts in 1, you're going to have two ways to end it. Now I went on to the next option, 2. Well, if you have a 2, then you have 02, and there's two ways to do 02. You could have 202 or 220. You could also have 211. Well, because 1 and 1 are the same, you can't really, there's only one way to do it. 211, if you switch the ones, it's still 211. So there's only one way. So basically, you just go through and list all the possibilities. So then you do 303s, 312, and two ways for each of those, and so forth. And then when you're done, you just carry the pattern until you've done everything. You went all the way up through 9. Then you add all these numbers. So I counted all my 2's. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So I did 25 times 2. And then I counted all the 1's. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you add 4 of those, so that gives you 54 total ways. All right. Now this one, this is pretty straightforward. It's just a basic proportion. So we have 4 out of 7 dentists recommend minty fresh. So as you say, 4 out of 7. And we have 1421 dentists surveyed. So we have a total of 1421 dentists and a total of 7 dentists there. So see how those match each other, total and total. Then you just cross multiply, or you can figure out that 7 times 203 is 1421. So that would mean 812 out of that number would probably recommend the minty fresh. All right, now this one, we have a rectangular garden, 48 square feet is the area. See how I drew the picture? Its width is W, but it's 1/3 of its length. So I just said 1/3 L is the width, and L would be its length. What is the measure of the diagonal? So it's looking for this distance. All right, so the first thing you need to do is figure out the area. So the area of this rectangle is length times width. So you do L times L is L squared, and then times 1/3. Now you just balance, so the opposite of times 1/3 is times 3 over 1. So that would mean L squared is 144. So L would have to be 12. 12 times 12 is 144. So if L is 12, that means the width would be 4. Now we have to use, to figure out the diagonal, you use what we call the Pythagorean theorem. Again, this is an 8th grade formula, but it's better to learn it as soon as you can. And what this means is it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. C is always the longest side, which is across, C is the longest side, which is across from the right angle. So over here, that's C. And A and B, see this is the right angle. A and B are just the other two sides. We'll call that A and that B. So you just do, the Pythagorean theorem says that if you square this number and add that to that number squared, it'll equal the third side squared. So you do 4 squared plus 12 squared. That's 16, 144 equals c squared, and c squared equals 160. Now this is where you need to use your calculator, do the square root of both sides, and that gives you 12.65. All right, here's the next one. This also is a straightforward proportion question. So we have 4 cups of flour to make 5 dozen. So you say 4 cups out of 5 dozen. Now if Amy needs to make 15 dozen, so we put 15 dozen on top, see they match each other. How do we get from 5 to 15? Times 3, so you'd need 3 times as many cups, 12 cups. All right, this one, length, width, height of a rectangular prism is in the ratio of 3 to 2 to 1, respectively. What is the length of the prism if the volume is 48? So volume equals length times width times height. Now in this case, since we don't know any of the numbers, what we do is we put a letter. Start with the smallest one, so we just put x for the smallest one. Now the next one is going to be 2 to 1, so it's 2x. And the third side's 3 to 1, so 3x. So that's how we get 3x times 2x times x. Well, x times x times x is x cubed, and 6 times x cubed, 3 times 2 is 6. Now you divide by 6, so you get 48 divided by 6 is 8, so 8 equals x cubed, and 2 cubed is 8, so 2 times 2 times 2. So that would mean it says what's the length of, or what is the length? Well, see, the length is the first one, so that would be the 3, and that's why the length is 3x, so you do 3 times 2, which is 6. So the length is 6, the width is 4, and the height is 2. All right, now here's the last one. This one you have to kind of write an equation or an inequality. So it says the manufacturer charges $7.68 for a case that contains 24 cans of orange soda. If the store wants to make a profit of at least $4.40, what is the least amount they should charge for 1 can? All right, so first of all, it's important you know what profit means. Profit is basically your price minus your cost. So what we have to do is first figure out what the profit we want is. Well, we want a profit of $4.40 per case. So that's how much money we want to make on this. Well, we want to know how much we charge. Well, the price is going to be, we don't know what our price is yet, but we know that we're going to sell 24. So it's 24 times X. That's the total amount of money that we're going to be bringing in. Now our cost is set. Our cost is $7.68. So that we subtract the $7.68. So now you just balance, add $7.68 to both sides. So that means the total we need to bring in is $12.08. And then you just divide by 24. You'll actually get a decimal like 0.50 something, but you have to round up because we need to make at least that much money. So 51 cents would be the round off. See, you come out to get 0.503. Normally you would round down, but if we only made 50 cents, we wouldn't make enough money. So that's why in this case you have to round up to 51 cents. And that is it.